Good morning, good evening. What time of day it is? I'm doing it pretty early in the morning. And today is the day. It's actually the 4th of September. 1 year ago, I went down to Montreal to get my bottom surgery done. And when I got it done, it was quite the thing. It's been 1 year now that I've been a woman. A full woman top to bottom. Actually, female top bottom. Well, I'm going to tell you a story, how it went and everything else. Most of you watched my video, post-op, day 6. Thank you very much for viewing it. Well, I'm at 14K now. I do know that for a fact. Well, it's very early in the morning. I thought I'd do it before internet gets so busy with people going online now and kids. Then I want to get this now so they don't have it happen. So they get up on the internet so you can view it. Well, here we know what happened. I woke up around this time in the morning, around 4. I had to be at hospital, but I had to be into Montreal at 5. I was sleeping at Holiday Inn out in Dorval. I had to leave there, check out, take a cab over to 9. What happened at 5 in the morning, I was at Montreal, the Salisbury Street. And when I got to Montreal, the Salisbury Street, CMC, I checked into a private hospital. After I checked in, it was a little rough, but the Wi-Fi was really bad there, so just be aware. It takes you almost 4 hours, because only a kilobyte service of Wi-Fi out there in the hospital. I don't know why, this is very bad Wi-Fi. But once I admitted, I got up to my heart, went to ward, they did the armband, and most of it finished off my mission there. Once I got to the ward, they turned around, got me to a room, showed me where the room was, that's fine. It was great, but here's the thing, I got undressed, got in hospital. And about now, it's been 5 minutes, they took me upstairs to the room. Took me upstairs, where to? They took me to the took me upstairs to the operating area. I come in the little room, and a little waiting room about the size of this, I sing in. First I sat there for a few hours, and a couple hours. I just sat there for a few hours, okay? As I was sitting there for a few hours, waiting, and I sat there, so I was waiting, so as time went on, I was pretty good. Didn't wait that long. Dr. Sarg comes out, he looks at me in the little examining room there. First, and okay, saying everything, this what's gonna happen, so we're gonna get you on the epidural, blah, blah, blah. The usual, what most doctors gonna say anyways. Good English for being Montreal. Of course, that day I was nervous like hell. I was really nervous. I was nervous. Anyway, so, not funny being nervous, but I was. I'm way out of my ballpark. Never been doing this in another part. This is a way about we're speaking French in Quebec. I'm way out of my ballpark, and I was nervous. But you know what? I made it in the operating room. I climbed up on the table, and then they rolled me on the side, and they put the epidural, and of course you're gonna feel a little sharp, little sting, and all that. Once you're in, you know what? They gave me a little button. Then they sat on a computer, programmed it and all that. It was for the dose. They told me I can't overdose on it and all that. And they said they're going to leave it in me until the following morning after surgery. So then I went ahead and push, tug, pull. All I thought was push, tug, and pull like this. Push, tug pull. Didn't feel anything. After the epidural, I could feel the rooming thing. And you know what happened? Then after the epidural was done with, when the epidural was finished, okay. But when on the line table, it was started around 8. Around about 8 in the morning when I was on the operating table. So by the time 11 came, the operation was done. My vaginoplasty was complete. And you know what? I looked down, and I had a very beautiful vagina below. And then that comes the fun part. And then after that, I was brought out, and then they put me on a stretcher, brought me to the recovery room. I lied there, showing the epidural. And then from there, they wheeled me after the recovery room for an hour or so, wheeled me down to the hospital bed, on a stretcher, down below, to the hospital below. It was funny, because the hospital right below the operating room. So I'm lying in the hospital room, waiting in the hospital bed. So I'm sitting in the hospital bed, and as a result, I'm just sitting there waiting in the hospital, and I could feel, and the pump was there, and Dr. Freer was starting late in the afternoon. He looked at me again, and he did some adjustment on my epidural, on doses of epidural. But I couldn't feel anything. I'm paralyzed from here, from here down. From here down, I don't feel a thing. I couldn't, yeah. Got a urinary catheter, and it was vagal film, but I didn't know what urinary or not, It really, I can't feel anything from the waist down. When I sat down, I was paralyzed. Couldn't feel a thing. And finally, they, and I lied there that night. And then later on, I was getting hungry, man. I hadn't eaten anything all day. I mean, by about around 7 o'clock at night, they brought up food from the kitchen at 7 p.m. They brought up a meal. I ate that like I had never eaten before. I was damn hungry. Oh, man, hungry. It was not bad. And then I didn't have my diabetes medication. So a nurse came in and gave me insulin and a needle. So I'm lying there, can't feel anything. And then I went to sleep, wake up, actually turned TV on, watch YouTube. Of course, I had a Roku TV. It had this, I actually had the TV there, but what's no TV were? I tell you, honestly, I had the TCL TVs on the wall. If I turned it on, watched Roku, and there only a few channels. Didn't have a proper cable box, anything there, etc. So I turned it on. I watched Roku. And after I watched the Roku channel, watched YouTube, watched my video on YouTube, post and upload a few videos. Uploaded one about good hospital food that night. After that, the next morning came, about 6 in the morning. Hard comes in the room. He wheeled me over on the side, and he said, and what they do is they turned off IV, turned that off, and then they worked around the over the side to start. They tried to take the epidural out and took me off the epidural, leave me back onto my back again, and he said, well, in a few hours you should be feeling lots down below. So about a few hours later, went by. By noon, it was 8. By about 2, 3 in the afternoon, I was feeling everything below. Like all of numbness gone. I feel everything. Wasn't paralyzed anymore. Then finally, then after that, I have a breakfast. Then I have my lunch. I lie in bed. By the end of later that evening, they had me walk around this hexagon type corridor. it goes around in a big circle like this. Goes around in a big circle like that, you know? They go in a big circle. Well, which is funny for a hospital, but that's an old building. I did research, found out was former VA hospital built during World War II to treat veterans, injured soldiers coming back from the Second World War. Then it was sold, and then the VA wanted it, sold it to CMC Montreal, and they've been running it ever since. Now, what had happened next was this: after surgery is done, then they moved, and they're going to the following morning have in a room. Friday, they moved in there to the over to the convalescent part of the hospital. We're totally tapped. When I got there, I have my own private room at that point. Own TV. Didn't need the headphones. All that was pretty great. Had those for a long, long time, and that was pretty good. Matter of fact, I thought they were okay. So I went ahead, and that was great. Everything went beautiful. So that was pretty great, you know. I mean, out there, and the thing went along great. I was healing. And then finally, the 6th day after surgery, day sick game, they bring me into a room. They unpack my vagina, unpack it. I put that video on YouTube as well. Photo day 6 when they took off all the packing out of my vagina, and that was a lot of relief. But after that, you know, a 2 days later, I went home. The food was good. I went home by train, got all the way home. When I got home, I supposed to meet somebody at a friend that's on Union. I was stationed on Union looking, finally found her, and I got in a private car, went all the way home, finally. Got home, I was tired, went to bed. I was in pain, and I was feeling it all night long. I gave me OxyContin and medication. It was pretty bad. It wasn't really nice. Oh, boy. So I'm there. I am waiting for taxi. Oh, boy. I'm home finally. And then as the first month, as I started going back to routine again, within a week or so. And after that, I started to feel better. To now, thing about being a woman is once you have this, if you're nervous about getting it done, once you got it done, things will happen to you that you would not even realize. Things happen to you before surgery, when you're transitioning with your breast and that thing. After surgery, your skin gets very soft. My skin got very, very soft within a few months afterwards. First, if you were acting a bit like a man before your operation, what happens when you after surgery? I tell you what happens. You don't want to act, but you don't want to act like a man too much after surgery. Number 2 is because what you got below is vagina. You got a clitoris. That clitoris does not allow you to act like a man. The vagina doesn't allow you to act like a man. It does not allow you to do it. I mean, you could don't want to put man clothing on. It will make sure it puts you in a dress. I found that having vagina, you gotta take care of it. It's not easy. It's not very easy whatsoever. It is hard. Hard. You have to, it's not easy. Not easy being a female now. Having a vagina, fine, you gotta sit down and squat. And that took me time to get used to. I was doing it before surgery. Now I have to do all of that. If I stand up, it goes all over the place. So that's true. But it's like it took me a year to really fully heal. Now I'm healed. I'm feeling, great. Like, not easy. Sometimes what happens? You go through a cycle. You go through a cycle too. Like you get a full moon. You really know there's a full moon out there because you feel it and your hormones go all crazy. Your estrogen goes up through the roof. It go crazy. Estrogen goes up through the roof. You start to feel all right, and then when there's no full moon out there, you still feel it, but not as much. So that's what I noticed. You go through a cycle sometimes, and you feel you go through a cycle. You feel all the time. I go through a cycle every 30 days, and like, two. So it's not, easy. Then you got cross, me, I go wear a wig because all the time now to pass a female public. Because thing is, being trans, you have people laughing, make fun of you. They say, look at a man in a dress like a man. I mean, or this one, worse when you call it is trainee, he, see. He, see is a worse word to describe a trans woman, he, see. Know why? He, see is like saying the N-word to a black person. Calling a black person by N-word. That is not, what you want to do. You know what I'm talking about? That is very, very not good at all. So, it's the same thing. And you gotta take fun of it. And top of that, that's pretty interesting too. But within this 1 year, having vagina taught me how to really appreciate myself. It actually made me a better person in one way. It made me a person in one way. It's really changed my life. Because one, I can't go back to being a man. I mean, even if I dress like one, I'm not gonna pass for one now. Impossible. Even if I did, I wouldn't. And even if I want to, I can't. But I have to. If I stood up like a man, you know what happens? I won't be able to stand up like a man. I can't. I won't be able to. I have to squat the fist. Cause I got breast sticking on my chest here. I could have got some stuff sticking out here now. I can't show it to you on camera because, I'm not gonna show it to you on camera, unfortunately, because that will parental discretion here. Can't show that, It's not a very good idea. But you get breasts, man, you ever do. I know one thing about your breasts, they control what goes on below you too. Well, if it's sex drive. So thing is, if you see a guy, you get all horny at a man, These are things for being a female. I mean, I think you flush the vagina, you have to keep vagina clean. No matter what. You get set up in there like pieces of plastic sometimes. Get a pad on you that seems to start to drop in the underwear. Piece of pad gets in your vagina, and then you gotta flush that out with a deucer. Having vagina is a little harder than having a penis because it's a little harder to clean out, of course. But it makes you act like a female. Number two is it's like not for everybody to do it. I mean, if you really are a trans woman, you really want to get it done, then by all means get it done. But I've seen cases out there right now where they had done this on pedophiles in the States, U.S., and some American jails done this on pedophiles, on sex offenders. What they did was they did a vaginoplasty on them as a punishment for their crime. And once they had a vagina there, they literally lost the male ability to do sex, but they lost the male persona very quickly. They started acting woman-like very fast, matter of fact. But they didn't like it because they had to bear it every single day. Matter of fact, afterward they leave from prison and they couldn't reoffend. They couldn't reoffend because they didn't have the power to reoffend. They had to take estrogen, so they couldn't reoffend. Period. So, guess what? They get the record removed at that point by the U.S. government. So they found that the people got very calm, relaxed, and they get very horny, start chasing men. They actually look like ladies in a year. But some didn't like it, and some just want to go back to being men, but they couldn't go back because it didn't work out too well. But now it is offered in the U.S. in a court of law as a form. If offered, you can. If somebody committed a sex offense in certain states, the judge gives you a choice between doing 20 years in jail or vaginoplasty, or have a vagina put in you for the rest of your life. And done it under that way to teach you a lesson. They don't want to commit crime again. See. And you don't get jail time of it. You'll get vaginoplasty. But unfortunately, but you have to, and that punishment, I do 1 month in jail, 2 months in jail, 1 year in jail where they put you on estrogen every day, and then they do vaginoplasty, and then you discharge. That's what they do, yeah. But in that one case, another case they did was one time they tried it up here on a prisoner up here. They did a forced change on somebody. They ordered him to get the court-ordered gender reassignment surgery. The person got it done, written in protection. The person, I can't mention the name where that person is. I do know, but I'm not going to say because he could be killed by organized crime I did. So, I mentioned the name. He had it done, and he liked being a woman very much now. It took him a year to get used to it. To me, it took me took me almost half a year to get used to having a vagina. It took me had it done in September, did it that year, but it took me to almost going into October, November, December. I get more used to December. I think in January, February, March. But April, I got more used to it in April. And May and June, I got more used to it. Finally, July, but finally now, by the time July, August came, I was used to it, I'm very used to having a vagina. I know now what people, why trans women say, having a vagina the best thing in the world. That's right, it is. For a woman, best thing in the world. Matter of fact, it makes me feel. One thing I like about being female is this: you got more money, you got more choices, you got more styling, you got more choices of clothes I could wear as a woman now than what somebody could wear as a male. Think about that. Would I wear than guys can wear? I got more ladies, and you gotta be careful. I know my sizes now, but the ladies' size are a lot different from men's sizes. They go by small, medium, large, triple X, 1X, 2X, 3X, 4X, 5X. Same thing in ladies' shoes, another good question. Ladies' shoes go from 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I take a 10. But you know what? Because ladies' shoes are a bit more expensive than men's shoes. runners are buying even lady clothing. I found more expensive. It costs more to be. It costs me more a month to be a female. Plus, buying any hygienics or pads or stuff or absorbent pads. For underwear, that's another. Those can get expensive too. Like sanitary pads, yes. Women hygiene products, yeah, all expensive. Buying stuff get expensive. Not cheap. It ain't easy being a not easy being a female. Not as easy to figure. The guy don't know that your female breast control what goes on below. Men, they don't know this, because there's a couple other things ladies give off. A couple other things ladies do society if you don't. A couple of things I know. Do you know they are? Females give off pheromones, okay? We give off pheromones in society. You know what the pheromones are? Pheromones are most animals and wildlife out there that gives off pheromones. The pheromones are used to attract a male partner in. They're used to attract a male, like in cows or that. Male deer will give off a pheromone that attacks that female deer. Then the female deer will have a baby doe, a fawn, basically. Yeah. Cats do the same thing. They'll attract pheromone that attracts the male cat, and they have baby kittens. And dogs the same thing. And humans, we will give off a pheromone in like a scent. Like I'll give off a certain pheromone. What to happen? Guys will pick up on that pheromone. Male, they pick up on that pheromone. They pick up on that sexual pheromone give off. That pheromone attraction. That pheromone does attraction to you, and then they do dirty deed at that point. That's how it works, And that's what happened to me. I give off a pheromone that does attract men. I have to watch out when it comes down to guys. There's a lot of bad guys in this city is full of people I would not want to do that with. A few people through the fall of the roommate of mine too, I say. I can't mention her name anyway, so yeah. So I'm going to say, well, it's been an interesting year. And this is 1 year now. I'm 1 year older since I had my surgery. Now this is my second year. This is going to be my second year of being a woman. I'm very happy about it. So I'm really wonderful that I went into my second year of being female. It's marvelous. You know something? Honestly, if you are LGBTQ and if you want to really do it, I recommend you to, number one is, start taking your hormones. Number two, get on estrogen. In some cases, maybe give them testosterone in some cases. Other hormone, may have to get a hormone injection. It's all matter of fact. It is, what you are, what you feel like inside of what you are. What I felt like inside when young, like being a woman all the time, that's what I am. Like I thought I was born in the wrong body. I realized I like it. I mean, to me, being a woman, it seems like makes me feel better, makes me feel proud. I finally accomplished something in life. But I got a lot more to accomplish being a woman now than I would do before. More things come, more fish to fry in the future. So please, say, this is not the last one, but I'm going to say, well, thank you for your generosity at YouTube. Thank you for your support and all this over 1 year. Thank you, everybody, for your support out there. One to really saying it. And thank you out there to a couple of people who watch both days. It's not an easy thing for me to do. Me and Montreal were way on my ballpark. Different rules, different game. Totally different game. We're dealing with rules like in Quebec are totally different in Quebec and Ontario in many ways because you have to deal with what it called. Oh man, I'm thinking here. What are you dealing with? The two things. Number one, you're dealing with your different rule book, different healthcare, all that. So it's very different, but it's interesting. You're nervous as hell being there because you're trying to make sure you do the right thing. You don't know the rules, so you gotta, learn it. I've been there by the time it got 10th day. I just wanted to come home, and I did. You know what? Blog over. The end.